What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning into the Queen Sound podcast. I am your homegirl, Shay. And of course, I have another special guest with me on today. The funeral boss is here to have a conversation with us. So, everybody, let's welcome him, sir. How are you today? Please let the people know who you are.
Oh man, I'm Frank Savory, owner and founder of Savory and Sons Funeral Home here in Kansas City, Missouri. I'm so honored to be back on the show, if that's safe to say. Uh, I thank you guys for having me. I feel blessed, to even have the opportunity to even stand on a platform such as this. And I'm ready to answer some questions.
Awesome. So let's get into it. So, unfortunately, the topic that we're going to be discussing today is a topic that not too many people like to discuss, but it is a part of life, and it is something that we eventually have to address. It is something we eventually have to sit down and have a conversation about. So today is going to be open dialogue about this conversation. And today we're going to be talking about pre-preparation for a funeral cost, for funeral preparations, getting wills, and talking about different ways of funeral services and things like that. So we're just going to be talking about that topic a little bit today, just to kind of get more information on how to prepare ourselves so when that time comes, our family doesn't have to worry about what to do, where to go, who to call, who to talk to. So we're going to kind of cover those conversations today. So the first thing I want to talk about is, I don't know if you know the rapper Takeoff.
Yeah.
Okay, so unfortunately, he lost his life at a young age. Actually, I want to say last month, if I'm not mistaken. And allegedly, he doesn't have a will set in place before his passing. And so now the family is having a issue with how to divide the assets up, how to divide the money up. And I don't want to blame it on age, because I know when you're that young and you're conducting or have control over that type of money, I don't think that a will is something that you have in mind. Or it could be just no one bringing it to his attention, or kind of letting them know that's something that should be in place or something to prepare for. So, what's your take on a will? Why is that so important for situations like this? Especially when nothing is set in place and you have a family that has to fight over the asset of the deceased.
Honestly, I mean, it's going to sound kind of contradicting what I'm going to say, but at his age, um, unfortunately, he shouldn't. Uh, I mean, that should have been the last thing on his mind. So I can understand why he did not have one in place.
Understandable.
Who
Yes.
who thinks at that age you're living, you're at the peak of life, you're having fun, and you're not really involved in that particular lifestyle of of hanging out, selling drugs, and all that stuff, or what have you. So
Mm-hmm.
I can understand where he didn't. He thought he had time. You know,
Yes.
I believe honestly that as the years progressed and as he got older, lawyers and what have you would have educated him more on on the importance of wills and stuff like that. But he was just coming around. He was just starting to live life. As far as
Mm-hmm.
had children and and all of that stuff. So I believe if he had the opportunity to get married or found the right woman or whatever the case may be, all of those things would have come into play. But it's very, very important. I just, would like everyone to look at that tragic situation as a reminder that death has no age or respect of person. It does not
Mm-hmm.
care. When it comes, and it does not give you a warning always. It comes
Yeah.
unexpectedly.
Very
So
true.
what we have to do, we have to be prepared for it, because we know that without a shadow of a doubt, everything else can be postponed. But one thing about death, when it comes, and that's the only thing that's really guaranteed to us in life, is that
That's
we're going
it.
to die.
Yeah.
Um, so having those things set in place, it eliminates a lot of family drama, a lot of issues that family, you know, the fighting that they have amongst each other, especially the African American community, because when someone dies, we've seen it divide our families time and time again. He would want me to have this, he would want me to have that, but then you have the
Uh-huh.
people that think that that everything should go to the children,
Mm-hmm.
and what have you. The children should be over this, the children should be over that. But as an individual, when you're setting up these particular wills and all of these other legal things, you have to be mindful to stretch things out and really look into detail of certain things. Okay, if my children are 5 years old, why would I put them over my music states or whatever like that? You want to put someone over there that's going to be that's of age, that's responsible,
Uh-huh.
and that can be liable of that stuff. Just in case something happened, they can keep this stuff going. Versus a child who has no clue, who hasn't even started living life yet.
Right.
So a lot of stuff you have to use common sense and ask questions. A lot of people think that asking questions is a terrible thing, but man, listen, if you try to give me a pen and you explain it to me all what this pen can do, and if I don't comprehend it, I'm going to ask questions until I can comprehend it. I don't care if my wife comprehends it, if my girl, if my whatever. I want to comprehend it for myself, and then I'll
Yes.
become, you know.
Absolutely. So how could a person or how would a person obtain a will?
There's all sorts of ways. You can actually, believe it or not, some of your local funeral homes can help you get that together.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to a bank and get that together. You can also go to people in his predicament, for rich people like that. They normally go to attorneys. Attorneys draw up all of this legal documentation for them and what have you. So yeah.
Okay. So several ways to obtain a will could be either your bank, your local funeral home, or an attorney. And another question I don't want to ask is something that you mentioned. If the deceased passed and has children under the age of 18 that cannot legally obtain the assets, but they do have like a mother or someone that's a guardian over them, how does that work? Will it immediately go to the mother? Would it immediately go to the guardian of the child of the deceased?
Certain aspects. So, in the state of Missouri, what a lot of people are unaware of is when an individual die, and if they're not married and they have children by that individual, whether it's the man or the woman, whoever
Mm-hmm.
passes first, and under the age of uh, 18, the legal guardian becomes that voice for that child. So, and we're having all kinds of problems with that now, because a lot of times mothers, they feel as though just because they birthed the individual, that
Mm-hmm.
they have all rights, and that's not the case in the state of Missouri.
Wow.
So if their child passes away, they pick up the phone, they call down to the medical examiner's office, and when the medical examiner says, "Okay, well, do they have any children?" and they say, "Oh, well, yeah, he has 3 children by 3 different women." The medical examiner then says, "Okay, well, we need to talk to
Mm-hmm.
all three of the children's mothers and see and make sure that they are all on one accord, and then we can proceed, because they are the legal next of kins now, because the
Wow.
children are under the age of 18." And as a parent, man, that's one of the hardest things to take in. Somebody telling you that you have no control or anything over your child when you birth this
Mm-hmm.
child, when you're the physical parent. That's
Right.
man, it's a hard thing, and we're seeing it time and time and time and time and time and time again. And it is starting to create a major conflict within our community, uh, because children's mothers are falling out with their baby daddy's mother and family and stuff like that behind this. But I mean, it's not anything that they've done wrong. This is just the law of the land. My
Uh-huh.
grandmama used to have a saying: "When you're in Rome, you do what you do like the Romans do."
Yeah.
You
Yep,
know.
I'm familiar with that saying. So with inflation, with everything going up, with everything being so costly, funerals or funeral services would be no different. And I'm pretty sure, depending on what type of service that you want to have for your loved one, will determine how much money you will have to pay to bury your loved one. So there's several different ways that that can be done. You can memorialize them. There's a traditional funeral. You can
Mhm.
also do a celebration of life, a cremation, a wake, and scattering of ashes. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
awesome, awesome. So with all those different things coming into play and all those different things that you can think about when it comes to burying your loved one, which will be the most cost effective way?
That's really a hard question
Mm-hmm.
for me, and the reason being is because I only have a price booklet because law says that I have to have a price booklet, but I'm
Okay.
more so talk to me. What do you want to do? What's your budget? Let's put
Right.
together something that can help you out. If you
Mm-hmm.
come to me with $1,500 and that's all you're really working with, I'm going to put something together to accommodate you. If I don't care if it's burial, if you want to have a funeral and then cremate afterwards, whatever the case may
Mm-hmm.
be, it's my job as a business owner to try to figure out something where we can help you out and whatever aspect. But um, I have a direct cremation package for $694. And what
Mm-hmm.
that consists of is picking your loved one up from wherever they may have passed at, transporting your loved one to the crematory facility, the actual cremation itself, a temporary cremation container, two death certificates, and a notice in the Kansas City Star.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
and the average funeral home is charging almost 1,800 some odd dollars just for that.
Wow. That is a nice memorial package for that affordable amount for, a family that wants to go that route. So I know that you've been in the funeral business for a very long time. So give us a little backstory. How long have you actually been doing funerals and working in funeral homes?
Well, I've been in the funeral industry since the age of 6.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, of course, it was family had a funeral home and what have you. So 2013, left from there and decided to do my own thing from there. And that's when I left from there and started to and then branch off. So I was at another facility. We won't say any names, but I was at another facility.
Uh-huh.
Um, Met my wife, and we were led to leave there and to do our own thing once again. So that's how I ended up with this place here. Started this in 2019. God gave well, I can't even say gave me a vision. He just told me to just get up, go, and trust him. So I had no plan when I left my other prior place. I literally left everything for his paperwork, everything. Like I had no plan. I left, and I had so many phone calls that were coming in. Um, I, I probably had at least 60 phone calls coming in a month, um, just for funerals and stuff like that. And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
gee, man, I can't get away from it. I have to get a building. So my wife, she said, you have to get a building. She's like, it's nowhere around it. You got to. So
Yeah.
I did everything I needed to do, found this building, and me and her put all the work into it ourselves. We did the painting, we did everything. And by ourselves.
That's awesome. That's a good way to save some money too.
Blood, sweat, and tears. Oh man, blood, sweat, and tears. We were up here doing this painting, and of course, I mean, you like any relationship. We was arguing because we were both frustrated. We were tired.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted
Yeah.
to go get the kids. I'm like, well, I'm doing the most work. Why don't you go get the kids? She's like, well,
Yeah.
I'm doing the
Understandable.
baseball. Why don't you go get the kids? So it was a lot. It was a lot of that and what have you. But in the same aspect, God still gave us the strength to keep going and to get
Hmm.
everything done. And it seemed like the more we were trying to hurry up and get open, we were still being bombarded with phone calls and people like, hey, listen, well, you buried my mama, you got to bury my son. There ain't no way around it. I'm like,
Right.
I can only move as fast as I can. And So when we finally opened, we got the phone call on November the 19th to go ahead and to officially open and what have you. And um,
Uh-oh.
I don't know what happened.
Uh-oh. So November the 19th is
That
when the
night,
business officially opened.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So that night was, oh, let me tell you this. I've never had a job in my life, right?
Uh-huh.
So never. So while we were doing the paperwork and everything, my wife, she's always been in nursing. She's always been in nursing and what have you. And believe it or not, she actually went to school. This is before we met each other. She actually went to school for funeral directing and embalming and what have you.
Oh,
But of course,
wow.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that at the time. Um, so one day I just woke up. I said, "Hey, I'm going to get a job." She said, "She said you can't do that." I said, what? She's like, you never had a job in your life. Are you gonna know what to do? I said, man, it's common sense. Listen to what they tell you to do, and I'm gonna be able to do this. So I
Right.
but it still goes hand in hand on me knowing people. I called my homeboy, I said, hey, listen, are you still running that company, correct? He said, yeah. I said, I want a job. He laughed at me. He said, man, you don't want a job out here, man. You're not going. He said, well, I said, I'm serious, man. I want to do something. I'm waiting on this stuff to come through for us paperwork so they can clear me so I can go ahead and open. I want to do something. So he said, okay, cool. Start tomorrow. I went to the job or whatever, and when I got there, he's bragging everybody. This is my best friend, like my little brother. He owns these funeral homes and that. So he's got me on. I said, man, listen, can I just be frank? I just want to be frank, while I'm here. So he's like, all right, well, cool.
Yeah.
Listen. So the person that was I guess you would call it my boss or what have you. He was like, okay, well, listen, your friend, he wants you to be over here, so you're going to be over here. The only thing that you have to do is, so I was just taking boxes and putting them inside of a shipping box and just folding them over and throwing them
Mm-hmm.
inside of a barrel. That's it, literally. That's all I did.
Oh,
I didn't drive
wow.
the forklifts. I wasn't lifting anything heavy. And when I would try to do that, they wouldn't let me do it. I'm like, man, but that's favor from God. God,
Yeah.
God will, man, he works in various ways. And I
Yeah, he
wanted to do, I'm like,
does.
man, listen, I'm a man still. I can lift boxes. You know what I mean? I can lift boxes. I can get my hands dirty and stuff. So the guy came over, he did like this. He said, man, you don't have a callus or anything on your hands. He's like, man, you've never done any hard work. I said, I have. I have. So this is so the first day I was excited. I went home. I got a hard hat and some gloves and stuff and a vest. I said, listen, I got a job. I'm doing. I love it. I love it. So I went back the next day. So the next day I went back. I received some phone calls that day, and then I
Mm-hmm.
received a call from the state board. The state board said, "Hey, Mr. Saban, now mind you, I'm in this warehouse, so I really couldn't hear. I heard her say that you were opening, da 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 da. You're free to go. You can do whatever you need to do. Get going. We'll send your licenses in the mail, but you're clear to operate." And
Uh-huh.
okay, dang. So I'm like, man. So a break came around. I called her back to make sure that I heard what I heard.
Right,
So
right.
she told me that. So I called the wife. I said, "Hey, listen, we good to go, girl. We ready." Da, 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 da. So as soon as I got off the phone with her, it was time, time to get ready to leave. I told my homeboy, I'm like, man, I'm good. He was like, all right, good. You ain't got to come back. I'm like, well, I still want to come back. I don't want to, this is only my second day. I want to come back.
Yeah.
He's like, man, you ain't coming back, man. I said, no, I promise you, I'm coming back tomorrow. So when I got home, we were celebrating or whatever, that we received the call and what have you. And we
Uh-huh.
got 8 death calls.
Oh,
That
wow.
night we got 8 death calls. My father's sister was our first call,
Mm-hmm.
and then this other young man, we got a call from him. A young man passed away of cancer, 12 years of age.
Wow.
So when I went back to the job the next day, phones continued to ring again. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
can we come and do this? I'm like, oh. He's like, man, just go, bro. He's like, man, I'm just so proud of it. But he was just so happy. Like I was in there working, I had my earbuds on. He would come over there and just hug, like, man, you going, man, you got it. I'm like, oh, he's more excited than me. I'm like, okay, but I've been around him my whole life, so and it's a little hard for me to really show emotion. You know what I mean? I can show it, but it's
Uh-huh.
just like it's not it's not a common thing. So
Yeah.
um like I said, so I we left there, we went to went to work, and we had so much going on. That following week, I called my wife. I said, listen, man, I said, I can't do this by myself. She was like,
Mm-hmm.
what? I said, man, I can't do this by myself. I need you. I said, I need you. She was like, what do you want me to do? I said, man, I need you to leave. She
Yeah.
walked off her job and hasn't turned back since.
That's
Um, and
amazing.
and everything hasn't been peaches and cream. Everything
Yeah.
hasn't been peaches and cream. We've had our ups and downs. With like any business on the wheel and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
This and relationship wise, but God has still been faithful to us, and we've been pushing. Uh,
That's
last
amazing.
last year, I believe we did 100 and some odd funerals. This year we're at 216 funerals, or 218 for the year already. This year alone. So God is he's blessed us tremendously.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, a lot more people have um been passing away lately. I feel like people are just leaving the
Yeah,
earth so quickly,
yeah.
like
But
really,
here's
really
the thing
fast. So
that
it's
makes
not a
us
surprise that it increased.
and this is what makes us so different. People are like, oh man, you're a preacher and everything. I said, I understand that, but God has given me a vision to reach the people, to accommodate to the people. So one of the things that we offer here at our chapel service, family, of course, they'll sign the waiver and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
So we offer complimentary beverage services here at any chapel funeral that we have. You have the option of having them or not. You can say we want mimosas, we want Bud Light, whatever the case may be. I'm going to provide that for you here at my chapel because there's nobody could tell me how to operate here in my space,
Mm-hmm.
and if that's what the family wants, that's what they want. And they, families come in, they decorate the chapel, they do everything, and I allow them to do that. And what I do is, I can have 6 funerals, but I will space them out. So if my family utilizes that chapel that day, that's your chapel for that day. I'm not going to be there rushing you and overlapping funerals there to try to rush you out or whatever the case may be, because a lot of my families, they like to decorate, they like to do it. And my chapel is like, it has no religious symbols or anything like that um to respect each and every person. I bury
Mm-hmm.
people that are Buddhists. I bury people that are Hindu and everything. So I've buried atheists before, So I want to be
Wow.
able to allow the chapel to be a place of comfort and give it that homey feel per se. So when
Mm-hmm.
they come, they can feel right at home. We have the big screen TV there. We have the soft carpet and the soft cushion chairs and everything. So it doesn't feel or seem like you're in chapel.
Uh-huh. That's amazing that they feel a sense of comfort whenever they can, walk into the chapel and just have the sense of security that they're in good hands when it comes to all services related
Yes,
to, their deceased loved one. So that's amazing to
yes,
be able
ma'am.
to hear that. So another question I want to ask is how do you unwind from a day? Just being around um bodies and being around deceased individuals that you have to lay to rest. How do you unwind at the end of the day after having experienced that throughout the day?
Uh, you really don't, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife used to be good at that, but now she's starting to be just as bad as me. She can be sleeping, she'll wake up talking about something pertaining to the funeral home
Mm-hmm.
or what have you. And now I find myself, it seems as though we have kind of switch places, because I was the one that would always talk about something about the funeral. We could be out to eat. I'll talk about the funeral. She's like, "Hey, we're eating. We don't want to hear nothing about the funeral." So now
Yeah.
I can be eating or doing something, or, something that's not even pertaining to the funeral. She'll talk about. I'm like, listen, I don't want to hear nothing about Savory and Sons until tomorrow when we get to the office. Don't
Yeah.
talk to me about funeral stuff or whatever
Uh-huh.
like that. So I don't know. It's really hard to wind down because it's a continuous thing. Like
Yeah.
when we're
Yeah.
asleep, we're still working because somebody's dying.
Right.
So
Right.
and we have a high when families utilize our services. It's not a oh, we're thinking we're gonna, choose that funeral where they pull the name out of a hat. We come highly, recommended. So
Mm-hmm.
we try to give every family our best. Have we
Yes.
dropped the ball on some cases? Absolutely. I mean, that's just we're human, and we make mistakes. We make mistakes just like other people, but we try to give all of our families the same respect. And one of my mottos is I don't care if a family spends $30,000 and the family spends $1,500. I'm not going to make my family that spends $1,500 feels less, or give them, the a poor quality of service because they didn't spend $20,000 or $30,000. I want
Right,
them to
right.
feel the same. I want them to feel like royalty too as well.
Right. And it's only right to do that way. And I think because you do that, that's one of the reasons why your company is word of mouth. Why,
Yes, ma'am.
people are why you're being highly recommended is because there's
Yes,
no
ma'am.
respecter person, and it doesn't matter what amount you spend when you come here, you can guarantee to get 100% guaranteed great service. And that's always going to make somebody want to be
Absolutely.
recommended or come back because of that. So my next question would
Yes.
be when it comes to preparing for getting ready to, leave this earth, what are some of the things that you should have in place?
Uh, the wheel is the number one thing that we
Mm-hmm.
spoke about when we opened up the discussion. Your will is very important. But speaking to your, I don't care if it's your significant other, or your best friend, your sister, talk to someone or some persons about what you were like, because it's crazy. We have so many people that pass away and we say, okay, well, what's John John's favorite color?
Right, right,
Well, he used to wear this all the time. I know, but like we've gotten away from talking and building a bond and a close knit relationship with our friends and family. Ask these questions. Mama, what type of perfume you like to wear? What type of lipstick? If you died tomorrow, what type of lipstick you want us to put on? Girl, I don't want lipstick. Leave me plain.
right,
Put some lip
right.
gloss on. So it's just stuff like that. People don't want to talk about it, but I mean, it's just a reality. We're all going to die. So, ask these questions. Ask these questions, and like I said, if you have a phone or something, jot them down. If you have a good memory, unlike myself, write it down. Keep it in your mind, and then when you get home or you get in the car, jot that stuff down. Okay, Mama said this, da 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 da, and just ask periodically. You know what I mean? Months and days or years down the line, whenever you think about it, ask these questions because it may change up. Mama, if I buried you tomorrow, what would you want to be dressed in? I want
Right,
to put me in some pajamas. They may say something funny, bury me naked or something like that. But Mama, last year you said you wanted to be in an all red thing. Yeah, but I
right,
seen Sister such in the red dress and it just looked so ugly, so I changed my mind.
right.
So just talk about it, and we have to get a little more comfortable talking about death. And a lot of people, what they use the same excuse. Oh, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about that. I ain't leaving no time soon, or whatever the case may
Mm-hmm.
be. True enough, you know what I mean. We don't know when you're gonna die, but still have that conversation. Still talk about it. Even if they don't want to hear, still talk about it and get a understanding on what they like. And you make your own personal will of your parents or your boyfriend, your husband, your kids, or whatever the case may be. You make your own little will, so you'll
Yeah.
know what they. So when you guys are sitting at that round table or that square table or whatever table you sit at to make these arrangements, when they say, well, the sister Betty, did she like she like lavender, right? No, her favorite color was orange.
Mm-hmm.
That was her favorite color. She told me that. I got it wrote down here. She told me that back at such a graduation or whatever the case may be, or at Ernestine funeral or whatever. So that's important.
So is there a time frame where this stuff should be completed?
Not necessarily. Like I said, you just want to periodically just keep notes. You know what I mean? Keep notes around and just keep talking about it periodically, because nobody knows the time nor the place.
Yeah, you right
When you
about
gonna
that.
when you transition. Yeah. So it would be hard to put and pinpoint a particular end time to it.
You're definitely right about that. Death was always something I never wanted to discuss. It was always something I never wanted to have a conversation about because it seemed uh I can't even say that it seemed because it is something that's realistic. It is something that unfortunately you will have to discuss. And no time like the present. You know what I mean? All the things that you mentioned, a will, um, all the way down to bank accounts and passwords, where you want to be buried, what you want to
Mhm.
wear, what color you want to be in, what's gonna go where, all of that type of stuff. I think it eliminates a lot of confusion and it eliminates a lot of arguments that are unnecessary when it comes between family members because stuff is in black and white. And I mean, you may have a few that still will be upset because of what's written in the will, which is another reason why I think it should be private. It should just be between you and the person or people that you have set in place to take over said assets instead of letting it be something that's publicly displayed where everybody knows what's going on.
Absolutely.
So I think it is something that definitely needs to be kept private. That just means that the older I get, the closer the time comes. And it's something that I need to definitely sit down, discuss with family about getting things in order, getting things in place. My parents are older. That's something that they've already done. They've already set things in place for my brother and I for when it is their time to be called home,
Mhm.
that we know what to do, what's next. So I appreciate all the information that you gave because it is something that is important and it's something that I feel like our community, the Black community in general, is something that we need to know. We need to take heed to. It's something that we need to discuss and have an open dialogue about because it is very important to have things in order and things prepared before that time comes so that everything will just run smoothly like it's supposed to. Absolutely. Is there anything else you want to add
Absolutely.
before we play this game?
Oh, I believe that everyone should have some type of, whether it's the masjid, a church or whatever, everyone should have some type of um, spiritual leadership.
Hmm.
Because we're getting ready to run into a situation where funeral homes are going to be overbooked. People are
Yeah.
going to have to, start having funerals, just every day of the week, because everybody wants Saturday. So they're going to have to start doing funerals every day of the week because a lot of these churches, and they're going to have the right to, they're going to eliminate these funerals if you're not members of their church. And a
Hmm.
lot of people, they want bigger space and and all of that stuff, and these churches are able to accommodate that, but a lot
Yeah.
of these churches are getting ready to start um allowing these funerals, particular homicide funerals, to come in their church because they're not only putting their self and their staff at risk, but nobody's going to continuously keep getting lawsuit after lawsuit because people want to come in that crazy
Hmm.
and uh, in the church. And then black people, they don't want to pay for security.
Right.
I'm not paying for that. I shouldn't have to pay for that. But you know what your loved one's into. So why wouldn't
Hmm.
you want it? Why wouldn't you want to do that? And I'm allowing you to utilize my facility.
Right. That makes perfect sense. You never know when
So
you're going to need it. So it's always good to have it on standby or have it handy when necessary. Because there are situations where it may be needed.
absolutely.
Okay, so the game that we're going to
Another
play
thing
is called
you
This or
just
That.
add on here.
Huh?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the game that we're going to play
I
is
said
called
one
This or
more
That.
thing.
Oh, go ahead. Go right ahead.
Mhm. Um, if you go and make funeral arrangements and that funeral director is rushing you throughout the funeral arrangement process, 9 times out of 10, uh, is some shenanigans going on.
Uh-oh.
And pay attention to detail because um, this is one of the most you're in one of the most vulnerable stages of your life at this moment when someone passes away and you're going to make funeral arrangements. So one mistake can cost you a lot when dealing with dealing with if you fall in the wrong hands of of a funeral director.
Hmm.
So you want to pay attention to detail. They say I expose too much. So I don't care. From every paperwork, you can look over every paperwork, detail, the fine print, and everything, and I'll explain it to you to the best of my ability. I don't care because I don't feel like it's anything to hide. But anytime someone rushes you, um, nobody get upset for you asking as many questions as you ask or whatever the case may be. Like I said, I'm the type of person that will ask the question over and over and over and over again until I understand. I don't care who else understands it around me. If I don't
Yes.
understand, I'm gonna keep asking the question. So that's all I want. I'm ready to play the game.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. I'm a person that likes to understand as well. So I may be that one that comes with the notebook with questions because I need everything to be answered. And I'm going to keep asking the questions as many times as I can to make sure the answer is the same
Absolutely.
and make sure the answer is no different. Okay, so the game we're going to play is called This or That. I'm going to name a few things and you let me know which one you prefer. Does that work?
Okay. Yep.
Okay. So the first one is, do you prefer tennis shoes or loafers?
Loafers.
A good pair of loafers, how are they comfortable?
Absolutely.
Okay. So you can't go wrong with that. Tennis shoes, depending on the style, sometimes they can be a little tight. So I completely understand that. Okay, my next question is fresh cut or freestyle? Locks or now you got the basketball players that wear the little stuff at the top. It doesn't make sense to me because I don't know what's going on with it. But hey, it's a
I
style.
say fresh cut.
Okay, a fresh cut. Okay, the next one. Chains or watches?
Oh, watches. Watches.
Watches. Okay. My next one is comedy movies or action movies?
Action.
Action. Do you have a favorite action movie?
I'm watching one right now
Ah,
on Prime. I can't think of the name of it, but I'm watching one right now with the guys. He was special. He was in the Marines and
okay.
what have you. And they came in and they killed his wife. They thought he was in the bed, but he was downstairs listening to uh, his radio or whatever.
Oh, wow.
And they came in and they assassinated her and what have you. They thought they killed him, but he ended up living and everything. So he's right
Wow.
now he's trying to find the people that did that to his wife. So
It sounds really good. I might have to check that out. I might have
it's
to check
good.
that out. Okay, the next one is basketball or football?
Ah man, I'm not a sports fan at all.
Really? You know what? You
Never
are the
played
first
sports and
man
everything.
that I have heard say that.
Never played sports or anything.
Oh my God. You don't even watch it?
For real. My wife watches. She jumps up and down and yells at the TV and
Wow.
everything.
That's really, really surprising to me because you would be the first man that I've had an interview with that does not like care for sports.
Yeah.
Shocker.
But if football's cool. Football's all right.
Okay. Okay, so the next one, shorts or pants?
Pants. I'm pants all year round. Summer, whatever, it be 100 degrees, and I'm comfortable with pants on.
You know, it's too hot for pants in 100-degree weather, sir. They do got shorts that come below the knee if you're ever interested.
Got pants.
Okay,
Pants.
so since you're not a
Pants.
sports lover, I'm gonna ask this question anyway. If you could choose, would you choose baseball or soccer?
Soccer.
Soccer. Okay. Hoodies or peacoats?
Peacoat.
Peacoats. Now, do you like the peacoats that just hit right at like the mid waist, or the real long ones that come all the way down to like the calf?
I like the trench. Give me the trench. Give me
The
the
trench
trench. Give me
style
the
ones.
long ones.
Okay, with the pop up collar.
Absolutely.
Now, being in your line of business, I know that there's a certain dress code that you wear, so I'm pretty sure you own quite a bit of peacoats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably about 15, 20.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can see that. I can see the style with the peacoat. So I ain't mad at that because I like me a good peacoat too. Okay, so my next one would be sports cars or luxury cars.
I'm more so luxury car.
Do you have like whenever you retire and you are ready to hand the business over to the children and you are in vacation retirement mode, what will be your go-to luxury car to retire in? Like your reward to yourself?
I'm pretty simple. I'll take a big body Benz. You know that I'm fine
Really?
with that.
I am a lover of the G Wagons. I love them. And I told myself, I gave myself 5 years to buy me one. Cash.
Yeah. Oh, you
Just go
got
to the
money
lot and
in
just drop the bag on the table. That has been my dream car for a very long time. So
you.
I am anticipating on the day that I walk into the Benz dealership and get me one because I want a G Wagon so bad.
Yeah.
I love me some Benz. Okay, the next one, a staycation or a vacation?
Vacation.
A vacation. You got a favorite vacation spot?
Miami.
Really? Miami is super,
I've
super, super busy.
I've been there 6 times this year already alone.
Oh my gosh. So I'm assuming you honeymoon there.
I go by myself. I go by myself.
Wow. Me and my
I go by
husband
myself.
went one time just on a vacation and it was so busy.
I
It
know
was really, really busy.
I know my way around that place like Kansas City.
So it's like a second home.
I know
It's
everything up and down Collins Avenue.
oh wow. It's so busy there. So that means you just need to like buy a vacation home there. So when it snows here, you can just go there. I mean, you're there
Yeah,
anyway. You might as well.
yeah, yeah.
That'd be a really good investment. Might as well. You're already there. Okay, so my next one is slides or sandals. The little I don't see too many men that wear those. I do see some, but not very many.
I'm sandals.
Sandals, yeah.
Yeah,
I see some nice
yeah.
sandals though for men. Like I really do. I don't know too many men who like them. I know a lot of men that like the slides, but I ain't mad at sandals either because they got some nice sandals for men.
Give me sandals.
They really, really do. Okay, my last one would be fitted hats or Kango hats. Yeah.
Neither. I'm a Bram type of guy. Yeah, I'm a Bram type of guy.
Okay, so you're gonna
You
go with
know,
the fitted hat.
the more the dress. Or when you say fit, are you talking about like the KC hats or whatever?
Yes, like the ball caps.
No, I am
Kango
like I
hats.
said, no, I'm more the dress hat, you know, the brim. That's what we call it. We
Okay,
call them
okay. So like
brims.
the
The dress
what do you
hat.
call them? I can't think of what they're called because I love those too.
The Dob hats.
Yeah, I got a few of those
Yeah,
laying around. Yeah, I
yeah,
got a few of those laying
that's what
around. I really like those too, and they go really well with the peacoats. I think it kind of put the whole look together.
yeah, I think I only own 3 pair of tennis shoes.
Wow,
That's it.
sounds like me. Sounds like
Yeah,
me. I don't own very many of them at all. Um,
I prefer a suit and some slacks and stuff every day, you
is that
know.
that's your everyday wear, even when you're not at work? Oh my gosh. No comfortable wear. So it's not a
It's
full suit though
comfortable.
if you're not at work, right? It's more so
Yeah,
like
like this,
slacks or like
but
dress
without a tie.
pants. Okay,
Like this, but without a tie. It's comfortable to
comfortable.
me. Yeah,
Yeah, and it
we go to we went to um the circus. I'm in a suit.
mhm.
Like all day, I'm in a suit. So,
Oh wow. Well, I ain't mad at it. That's called having swag.
yeah, I'm on the suit.
There we go. That's called having
Yeah,
swag. Well, listen,
I take
sir,
the
thank you so much for taking time out of your day to have a conversation with me again.
thank you.
I
And where
really
can I find this
appreciate it.
at?
This is actually once we get done wrapping up, it's actually going to be on my podcast page. And when the video
Okay.
uploads, I'll be sure to tag you in it. And then
Okay.
feel free to repost it, reshare it, put it on other platforms, whatever feel free to do. You are more than welcome to.
I'm gonna do that. I appreciate you so much.
No problem. I thank you for taking time out of your day because I know last time you were super busy and I wanted to make sure that we redid this because I wanted the information to get out because it was so important. And I wanted everybody to be able to
Yes, ma'am.
hear the information you were given because it's needful.
Yes, ma'am.
It's needful.
Yes, ma'am.
Please
I
let the people
thank you.
know where they can get in contact with you in case they need your services.
Well, we're located at 12101 East 43rd Street, Kansas City, Missouri, 64133. Our phone number is 816-437-7766. We're right behind Walmart on 40 Highway right here, diagonal from First Federal Bank. So
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, sir. This will not be the first or last time I invite you on the podcast. I got some things coming up for next year, so be on the lookout for my invite. And I
all
look
right.
forward to talking to you again. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alrighty, I'll be talking to you soon.
All righty.
Alrighty, bye bye.